Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. The mystery surrounding Drew Cain's near-fatal shooting has intensified speculation among fans of General Hospital, particularly regarding the possible involvement of Brad Cooper and the shadowy manipulations of Selena Wu. Rumors have swirled that Brad, who has been off-screen for an extended period, may have returned to Port Charles under a new, more sinister role, one that might be connected to Selena's secretive and dangerous world of organized crime. Brad Cooper has always been portrayed as well-meaning yet remarkably clumsy, a man whose heart is often bigger than his ability to follow through on plans flawlessly. Yet the question now arises, could Selena Wu, known for her cunning, ambition, and ruthless efficiency, have secretly trained Brad as a mob hitman, groomed him to pull the trigger on Drew Cain? It is not far-fetched in the soap opera universe where alliances shift with alarming speed and hidden agendas often emerge in the most unexpected ways. Selena, ever observant and opportunistic, had previously identified a rare potential in Brad when she first recruited him for her mob connections. Unlike others who faltered under her scrutiny or rebelled at her audacity, Brad's unique combination of loyalty and naivety may have made him the perfect candidate for covert tasks that required a blend of obedience and unpredictability. His tendency to make mistakes, which normally frustrated his friends, could ironically make him an ideal operative for tasks Selena wanted to be executed with plausible deniability. Failures could be blamed on him rather than her meticulous planning. Given Selena's history, it is entirely possible that Brad has spent the intervening time off-screen under her watchful eye, learning the dark arts of the underworld, how to surveil, how to intimidate, how to plan, and crucially, how to fire a gun with precision. Selena is known for not taking no for an answer, and anyone within her sphere, no matter how reluctant, is compelled to comply when the stakes are high and the threats are credible. If Brad was coerced back into her organization, he would have had little choice but to undertake whatever mission Selena deemed necessary, including the shocking task of targeting Drew Cain, who had long been a thorn in the side of numerous characters, including Curtis Ashford. Flashbacks in the December 3rd episode highlight Selena's ruthless pragmatism. Curtis, desperate and determined, pushes for Drew's elimination, and Selena responds with a cold assurance that it can be done within 2 hours, hinting she already has the ideal person lined up for the job. That person, fans speculate, may very well have been Brad Cooper, transformed in secret into a reluctant but trained hitman. The idea that Brad could have been involved in Drew's shooting fits neatly with his known personality. A man who often bungles situations could easily botch an assignment, explaining why the hit on Drew was seemingly unsuccessful. Brad's return, therefore, may not only bring personal drama but also serve as a narrative device to heighten tension, complicate loyalties, and explore the moral ambiguities of characters caught between coercion and conscience. Another layer of complexity arises from the potential for multiple perspectives on the shooting. While the possibility exists that Brad physically fired the gun, there is also the plausible scenario in which he witnessed the shooting, only to flee the scene before the outcome was certain. This ambiguity heightens suspense, leaving fans to speculate whether Drew's attacker was Brad, another operative under Selena's command, or perhaps someone acting independently. The mere suggestion that Brad could have been coerced into carrying out a mob-sanctioned hit adds significant moral weight to his character arc. It transforms him from a bumbling, well-intentioned figure into a tragic participant in a morally gray storyline, a man whose loyalty to friends, family, and even his own ethical code could be tested in unprecedented ways. If Brad indeed served as Selena's operative, every misstep, every hesitation, every failed shot could carry emotional and narrative consequences, affecting not only Drew's fate but also the relationships between other core characters, such as Curtis, Trina, and Kai, whose involvement in the unfolding events may intersect in unexpected ways. Speaking of intersections, the presence of Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor in Drew's home during the shooting adds another layer of intrigue and potential peril. In the December 3rd episode, their presence is revealed in the context of a broader plot to gather blackmail evidence against Congressman Cutthroat, aiming to protect Portia Robinson from political manipulation. However, this seemingly separate mission could collide disastrously with Selena's machinations. Known for her meticulous approach to eliminating witnesses, Selena would view Trina and Kai's proximity to the crime scene as an alarming risk. Though they may not have directly witnessed the shooting, Selina's paranoia and meticulous attention to detail could prompt her to believe they did. In her mind, anyone with potential knowledge of her involvement, or that of her operatives, could become a target. The combination of Brad's potential involvement and the presence of unanticipated witnesses creates a powder keg scenario where one miscalculation could spiral into multiple tragic consequences, further entangling characters in a web of deceit, fear, and moral compromise. Curtis Ashford's role in orchestrating the hit adds yet another dimension to the story's moral and legal entanglements. While he did not physically pull the trigger, Curtis's arrangement of the assassination plot implicates him legally and ethically, making him vulnerable to exposure by the Port Charles Police Department. This precarious situation forces Curtis into a tense balancing act, ensuring Drew's safety while navigating the repercussions of having initiated a scheme that could destroy multiple lives. His $1 million contract with Selina underscores the high stakes and sets the stage for dramatic confrontations, both legal and personal. If Selina completes the hit, or attempts to, without delivering definitive results, it adds yet another layer of suspense, leaving viewers questioning whether Curtis's investment and planning will yield the intended outcome or merely unleash chaos across Port Charles. The interplay between Curtis's ambition, Selina's ruthlessness, and Brad's potential reluctance or incompetence creates a volatile narrative environment in which trust is scarce, alliances are fragile, and every decision carries unpredictable consequences. As for Selina Wu herself, her involvement in the narrative is emblematic of the archetypal soap opera villain, intelligent, resourceful, and ruthlessly strategic. Her ability to manipulate events behind the scenes, recruit and train operatives like Brad, and orchestrate high-stakes criminal plots speaks to her mastery of psychological control and strategic planning. Selina is not merely a passive figure in these events, she is the orchestrator, the unseen hand guiding the narrative from the shadows. Her interactions with Brad, whether coercive or mentorship-driven, reveal a complexity that blurs the lines between villain and mentor. The potential for flashbacks to show Selina training or directing Brad provides both dramatic tension and narrative clarity, allowing viewers to understand her motivations while keeping her true intentions tantalizingly opaque. If Brad's role in Drew's shooting is confirmed, it will highlight Selina's effectiveness in manipulating even the most morally conflicted characters, demonstrating her ability to exert control over events and people with precision and subtlety. The broader implications of this storyline extend beyond the immediate threat to Drew Kane. They touch on themes of loyalty, coercion, morality, and the consequences of ambition. Brad Cooper's potential transformation from a hapless but lovable figure to a trained, reluctant hitman under Selina's tutelage forces viewers to consider how far individuals can be pushed by circumstance, fear, and manipulation. Curtis Ashford's desperation and moral compromises highlight the dangers of choosing expediency over principle. Selina Wu's calculated ruthlessness emphasizes the perils of power unchecked by conscience, while Trina and Kai's inadvertent involvement underscores the randomness of danger in the interconnected world of Port Charles. These intertwined storylines create a tapestry rich with suspense, intrigue, and emotional resonance, ensuring that every twist and revelation carries significant weight for characters and viewers alike. In conclusion, the question of whether Brad Cooper pulled the trigger on Drew Kane, or was merely a pawn in Selina Wu's machinations, remains a tantalizing mystery. Selina's potential role in training and coercing Brad, combined with the presence of unintended witnesses like Trina and Kai, sets the stage for explosive narrative developments. Curtis Ashford's precarious position adds legal and moral complexity, while Drew's survival, or ultimate fate, serves as the fulcrum around which these tensions pivot. As fans eagerly await further episodes, the interplay between coercion, loyalty, skill, and morality promises to deliver shocking twists and deeply human drama. Whether Brad emerges as a tragic pawn, a reluctant villain, or an unwitting hero, his involvement with Selina Wu and the failed hit on Drew Kane epitomizes the intricate storytelling, high stakes, and emotional complexity that define General Hospital, ensuring viewers remain on the edge of their seats as Port Charles continues to unravel in unpredictable and thrilling ways. The suspense is far from over, and every character's next move could change the landscape of Port Charles forever. The more we examine Brad Cooper's potential role in Drew Kane's shooting, the more the layers of intrigue multiply. Brad, traditionally portrayed as a good-hearted, somewhat hapless character, seems an unlikely candidate for a mob hitman on the surface. Yet in General Hospital, nothing is ever as simple as it appears. Selina Wu, whose manipulations are as precise as they are ruthless, has always had a talent for seeing latent potential in people who others might underestimate. She is a master strategist, capable of identifying a person's hidden capabilities and molding them to her own ends. In Brad's case, it's possible that his naivety, his loyalty, and even his tendency to make mistakes were precisely what made him valuable. A perfect operative in Selina's eyes is someone who is both controllable and unpredictable, someone whose failures can be excused as incompetence, thus shielding her from exposure. Over the months he's been off-screen, Brad could have undergone a secret transformation, receiving intensive, covert training under Selina's watchful eye, a training designed not only to teach him how to kill but also to manipulate, intimidate, and navigate the dangerous waters of organized crime. The notion that Brad might have been forced into this role adds a rich moral complexity to the narrative. Unlike a conventional villain, Brad's character is defined by his hesitations and mistakes, his desire to do the right thing clashing with the demands of those who wield real power in Port Charles. If he indeed pulled the trigger, fans are left to question whether he acted out of fear, loyalty to Selina, or sheer coercion. Perhaps he thought he could refuse, only to discover that Selina's reach extends further than anyone in Port Charles imagined. In this sense, Brad's character becomes both a tragic figure and a narrative linchpin, a man trapped between the criminal underworld and his own conscience. Each misstep, each moment of hesitation, carries weight, making the audience wonder not only whether Drew will survive but also whether Brad can reclaim his moral center once the dust settles. Selina's manipulations are equally compelling to consider. In the December 3rd flashback, she confidently assures Curtis Ashford that Drew will be eliminated within 2 hours, hinting at the precision of her planning and the selectivity of her operatives. The suggestion that she already has the perfect person for the job points directly to the possibility of Brad's involvement. Selina's genius lies in her ability to exploit both opportunity and human psychology. She identifies those who can be molded, coerced, or intimidated, then leverages their vulnerabilities to accomplish her objectives. If Brad was her chosen operative, it would not merely be a matter of assigning a task, it would involve psychological conditioning, intense preparation, and constant oversight. The pressure to succeed, or at least not to fail catastrophically, would weigh heavily on someone like Brad, whose moral compass and clumsy tendencies often conflict with high-stakes criminal activity. This tension, the fear of failing Selina while also potentially harming someone he cares about, is the perfect breeding ground for soap opera drama, providing writers with endless narrative possibilities. The botched nature of Drew's shooting seems consistent with Brad's historical patterns of behavior. Whether he fired the weapon or merely witnessed the event, the outcome reflects his inherent unpredictability. Fans are left speculating, did Brad pull the trigger and miss? Did he falter at the last moment, unable to commit an irreversible act? Or did he perhaps confront another shooter, only to retreat when the moment became too real? Each scenario adds layers of suspense. Brad's potential involvement also raises questions about his post-shooting psychological state. A character who has always been emotionally open and empathetic could now be burdened by guilt, fear, and confusion, creating fertile ground for further character development. His interactions with Drew, Curtis, and other key figures are likely to be charged with tension, laden with unspoken questions about loyalty, coercion, and survival. Meanwhile, the presence of Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor during the shooting complicates matters further. Their subplot, initially centered on gathering evidence to protect Portia Robinson from Congressman Cutthroat's machinations, intersects dangerously with Selina's criminal activities. Trina and Kai's inadvertent proximity to Drew during the attack introduces an unpredictable variable into Selina's meticulously calculated plan. Known for her ruthlessness, Selina would perceive any witness, no matter how distant, as a potential threat. The possibility that she could misinterpret their actions as direct observation raises the stakes dramatically. In soap opera storytelling, such misunderstandings often drive subsequent conflict, leading to confrontations, threats, or even new attempts on characters' lives. For Brad, witnessing or interacting with Trina and Kai could further complicate his already morally conflicted position, forcing him to navigate a web of deception while grappling with his own conscience. Curtis Ashford's role cannot be overlooked in this tangled web. By commissioning Selina to eliminate Drew, he has positioned himself precariously between criminal enterprise and law enforcement scrutiny. Curtis's motives, likely driven by desperation and personal stakes, cast him in a morally ambiguous light. He did not pull the trigger himself, yet his orchestration implicates him legally and ethically. If the Port Charles Police Department uncovers the scheme, Curtis could face severe consequences, including legal prosecution and irreparable damage to his relationships with Drew, Trina, Kai, and others. The $1 million contract he offers to Selina underscores the lengths he is willing to go to achieve his objectives, highlighting the high stakes and moral compromises inherent in his character. Each decision Curtis makes reverberates across multiple storylines, influencing not only his fate but also the lives of those connected to Drew Cain and Selina Wu. Selina Wu's persona as a master manipulator adds a chilling dimension to this narrative. Unlike conventional villains, her power is rooted not just in brute force but in intellect, foresight, and the capacity to orchestrate events from behind the scenes. Whether she personally fired the gun or delegated the task to Brad, or another operative, her influence is unmistakable. Selina thrives on ambiguity, ensuring that responsibility can never be traced definitively back to her. She is strategic, calculating, and always one step ahead, making her a formidable presence in Port Charles. Her potential interactions with Brad could range from coercion to mentorship, depending on what best serves her objectives. Brad's compliance, hesitation, or failure becomes a reflection of Selina's control, raising questions about the nature of free will and moral responsibility in situations of coercion. The narrative possibilities extend beyond the immediate aftermath of Drew's shooting. If Brad was involved either directly or indirectly, the psychological ramifications are significant. A man who has always been guided by empathy and moral instinct is now implicated in an act of attempted murder. This shift in character presents opportunities for intense drama, confrontations with Drew, confessions to trusted allies, and moments of inner turmoil that force him to reckon with the consequences of actions imposed upon him. The narrative tension is further heightened by Selina's unpredictable nature. Any misstep could trigger additional plots, threats, or attempts to silence witnesses. In this sense, Brad's storyline becomes a conduit for exploring themes of coercion, guilt, redemption, and the psychological toll of participating in morally reprehensible acts, even under duress. Trina and Kai's involvement also warrants deeper analysis. Their presence during Drew's shooting was unintentional, yet it places them at the center of potential danger. Selina's obsession with eliminating witnesses could make them targets, while Curtis's desperation to cover his tracks further complicates their position. The collision of these subplots, Drew's survival, Brad's potential involvement, Selina's manipulation, Curtis's desperation, and the inadvertent involvement of Trina and Kai, creates a multi-layered narrative ripe for suspense, dramatic tension, and emotional engagement. Each character's actions influence the others, producing a complex web of consequences that could unfold over multiple episodes or even seasons. The unresolved nature of Drew's shooting serves as a narrative device to sustain suspense and audience engagement. By keeping the identity of the shooter ambiguous, writers encourage speculation and discussion, ensuring that fans remain invested in the storyline. Brad's potential involvement, whether confirmed or hinted at, adds emotional depth and complexity. Audiences are drawn into the moral dilemmas faced by characters coerced into unethical acts, forced to navigate conflicting loyalties and uncertain outcomes. This ambiguity also allows for flexibility in storytelling. Future episodes could reveal new information through flashbacks, confessions, or unforeseen twists, maintaining dramatic tension and keeping viewers guessing. Selina's potential knowledge of Trina and Kai's presence during the shooting introduces yet another layer of tension. Even if they did not witness the act, Selina's paranoia and strategic thinking could lead her to perceive them as threats. In soap opera logic, misinterpretations often drive conflict, creating opportunities for confrontation, revenge plots, and new alliances. Brad, caught between Selena's manipulations and the presence of innocent witnesses, is placed in an increasingly complex moral landscape. His actions, or inactions, could determine the fates of multiple characters, highlighting the interplay between free will, coercion, and unintended consequences. Finally, the broader implications of this storyline extend to the moral and emotional themes that underpin General Hospital. Loyalty, trust, coercion, ambition, and the consequences of moral compromise are all explored through the interactions between Brad, Selena, Drew, Curtis, Trina, and Kai. Brad's potential role as a reluctant hitman provides a lens through which viewers can examine the impact of coercion on otherwise good-hearted individuals. Curtis's orchestration of the hit underscores the dangers of desperation and moral compromise. Selena's ruthless efficiency highlights the peril of power unchecked by conscience. Trina and Kai's unintended involvement demonstrates how innocent actions can have unforeseen and dangerous consequences. Together, these elements